world. It's your girl LD Marie, and welcome back to another episode of Let Them See Your Mind. I'm super excited that you're back with me. If you don't mind, if you go ahead to subscribe to all of my channels, Let Them See Your Mind. It's all there as far as Instagram, Spotify. There's so many, I can't even decide. Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. There we go. Apple Podcasts. So today I realized that I've always talked about me being a social worker and actually living the dream and being an international social worker, but I've never actually talked about what it takes to actually be a social worker here in the United Kingdom. So for those that don't know, I have been a social worker for 9 years. I have a bachelor's in social work and I have a master's in social work, both when I was in the state of Texas. And I was essentially, and I told this story before, that I was being laid off from my job, my last job in America. It was an at-home work job. I was working with kids with disabilities, doing case management, all that kind of great stuff. And I decided, like, when I was getting laid off, that I want to pursue being out the country and experiencing new life and everything else. So it took me about a year to get everything sorted. So here are some things and here are some steps to kind of get you started for that particular person who wants to take that leap of faith and go out there and join the social work world in the United Kingdom. So let's get started. So first step you have to realize is that working in a different country, you have to follow their rules and expectations in regards to obtainment of visa. And before it even gets to the point of looking at visas and everything else or actually applying for a visa, you need to actually look up within that certain countries what type of visa that you're looking for. So for the United Kingdom, it is a tier 2 visa for a social worker. And those are the types of visas or work visas where they have, essentially there's a list online, and I'll pop up and show you. There is a list online where it shows what areas of employment are very much expedient on getting a visa. So social work is one of them. Nurses is another one. Doctors is especially a dire need here in the United Kingdom. And so if you look at that list and you see that your profession, if you're not looking at social work, but definitely if your profession is on there, you'll be very much access to a tier 2 visa and you're able to get it quicker. So once you get that out of the way, as far as looking for a job, you need to actually be registered to be a social worker here in the United Kingdom. So in order to be registered as a social worker, you have to go to Social Work of England, and I'll put the link below, Social Work of England, and you follow their steps and follow their forms in order to be registered. And so as an outside social worker coming in, there are requirements that you have to see, and you have to prove that your degree that you got from your country is aligned with the social work values and the social work expectations that are come about within Social Work England. So Social Work England compared to the United States is like the NASW of registration. Though in America, you don't have to be registered as an NHSW. You just have to take a test and then you are officially called a social worker, depending on what state. I know in the state of Texas, you can't be called a social worker until you pass the state exam. But for here, you can go to school, do your requirements, do your education, register to be a social worker in the Social Worker England, and you are a social worker. So once you're registered, you have your registration, and there's a lot of different back and forth, and it's an increased fee for someone that is outside of United Kingdom for them to be registered within their registration group. So once you're registered, connect to Facebook groups, connect with other expats. What is an expat that you said? Is basically someone that is coming over and immigrating to a different country. So for me, I'm American expat. So if you are transitioning from a different country and you're wanting to connect with other people, I highly suggest that you go to Facebook groups, any type of groups, go through and look at different people that have done it before and just connect with those certain individuals. I mean, always my DMs are open. So if you have other questions, feel free. I'm always willing to answer them. So you just connect with those other people in order to figure out what type of job for you is. Currently, right now, I know the scoop that my council is looking for international social workers. So if you're wanting to make that move and you are registered for Social Worker England, go ahead and hit me up because they are looking, they're doing a big push for international social workers. And also, you know me, so you won't be as chaotic as I was when I first moved over here. So after that, you've connected with people, you start applying. Apply to on Indeed, apply using LinkedIn, any search engine, and you can just Google social work in England, social work in different areas as far as with England is concerned. I know a lot of people when they want to come over from a different country, they want to land in London. Now, guys, I was the same way, but it's difficult. If you do not have experience working in the United Kingdom, it is difficult to get a job in London or any of the major cities of Manchester, Leeds. It's very hard. Sometimes you have to kind of work in the other cities, whether it be Birmingham, whether it be a local county, local authority in Surrey, or my local authority. And you have to kind of work through those types of things in order to get a job, and then you can transition on if you feel the necessary to a job, whether you do in England or wherever you want to land in regards to working in the United Kingdom. So you have to apply those jobs, you have to go through the interviews. Some interviews are easy. Some interviews are very hard. I had 3 interviews before I actually got my job. My first interview, I felt like it was okay and I bombed it. It was okay. Second one, I felt like I was ill prepared. No, it was the first one that felt unprepared, and the second one I felt a little better about. And then the third one was actually one that I got the job with. So once you kind of get established, get through the interviews, get through the process and everything else, you may or may not have a job. But also, while you're looking for jobs, please read the job descriptions and research what the job description looks like. I have spoken about this before. United Kingdom, as far as for social workers, they very much keen or hone in on child welfare. Like social workers are more of child welfare. Like there's not much wiggle room in regards to what you can do within social work. Like, of course, you can work with adults. Of course, you can work with children. There is a choice in that. But there's different departments that you may not understand where you would think like, oh, well, this is the area, but you may not know what actually they do until you actually jump yourself into that position. So research is key. Research, very much so, is key to making sure that you are best prepared for the job that you are going after. And so a lot of the times when you're going through those job listings, you can actually figure out what you want and what you don't want. And so that was one of my mistakes where I wanted to get my foot in the door and I looked at different things and I didn't really read what it was. And so I thought it was going to be something similar to what I was doing back in America, but it ended up being something totally different. So research, 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 and just get together with what you want. So research those jobs. So you finally get excited. You finally get your offer letter, and you have accepted the position. And now it is high time to get your move together. Your move is one of the most rewarding but difficult processes in the entire world. When you're moving, you're trying to figure out what to keep, what to don't keep, where you're gonna be living, how things are gonna kind of transition. Like you have to understand what's going on. So the first thing first, after you get excited about getting the job, you need to research where the job actually is. You need to research where you actually want to live. And you have to see, as far as like you get your offer letter, you know what your money is and how much you're going to be earning each and every day. But you need to figure out, okay, so if I'm earning this, what exactly I'm going to have enough for rent, how I'm going to do electricities, how I'm going to do the regular bills and everything else. Now, in the United Kingdom, a lot of professionals, especially single professionals, they do shared accommodations. I didn't know this when I was doing my research. I didn't know this. And if you are single and you're coming over by yourself, do a shared accommodation, because that's one of the ways that you can get an end on what's what around, and you are connected with a local or someone that's been there for a little bit, and you can actually have like a good friend or someone that can kind of show you the ropes if you end up getting a good roommate or a flatmate. They call it flatmates. So shared accommodation is something that is normal here. Also, when you are looking and researching and prepping for the big move, look to your company for assistance. See what they're offering in regards to it, besides what the job description said. Because of course, job description says that you can do relocation, but how would that work? How would that go about? Ask those questions before you hop on a plane and spend all that money. I asked those questions, but a lot of those questions weren't answered, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just have to roll with the flow when I got here. But please ask those questions from your company, because if they're saying that they want to hire you and they're saying that they're wanting your expertise in a certain area within social work, then you need to be very much of an advocate within the company or the organization to be like, look, I am taking a sleep. I want to do this job, but I want to come over correctly. I need some guidance and assistance on what it all entails for me to do, and especially with the job that is offering relocation. So you can know, oh, do I need to pay for this up front, or do I need to have, or they're going to be paying for stuff for me. The most important thing about moving overseas, you need to save a lot of money. Point blank period, you need to save money, because there's a difference in from American dollars to pounds. Right now, it's not so much because the pound has crashed, but there are different ways and so different areas where if it is coming about, you need to save your money. Save your money. Make sure you have your nest egg. Don't blow your savings in doing all of this, and just have some type of nest egg. So if something does come about and you can move on your feet, you have that there. One of the last questions that I get asked a lot is, are you going to come back to America? Are you going to come back to Texas? I don't know. But I'm still licensed as a social worker in Texas. So just to have that cushion of, if I do go back to America, I am still licensed and I don't have to go through the nonsense of a test all over again. But I know for a fact that my career path is changing. So if I chose to change it, and most definitely I am going to go back to America, as far as my career path will change. So yeah. Thank you so much for listening in to Let Them See Your Mind. I'm super excited about the things that are coming forward. Please subscribe to my YouTube, subscribe to Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, subscribe to Spotify, and then also subscribe to Anchor. And then also you can follow me on social media at Let Them See Your Mind. And you can if there's any questions about today's episode, please tell me. Please email me at letthemseeyourmind@gmail.com. I'm super excited, and we are out.